There we go. Good evening, everyone. Hey, is it going to snow? You've probably heard, unless you've been living in a cave or something, you've probably heard the forecast or the people that are forecasting a winter weather event this toward the end of the week. We'll definitely talk about that. Is it really going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I figure inquiring minds want to know. But welcome to my winter weather update. I know we typically do severe weather updates. That will come soon enough when we get into the spring. But right now we're dealing with winter weather, which it depends on who you've talked to, who you've listened to. We could see nothing or we could see a foot of snow. I think those are the extremes that we're looking at as far as what people have said. I don't think the models show that. I'm going to show you why in just a second. But I think we will see something. And I'll just go ahead and let me pull up the Weather Service page here. So this is Thursday. And as you can tell, and let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Let me make it a little easier to read. There we go. So the official forecast, and we're going to talk about the official forecast versus the models, is that the official forecast would be for snow starting late Wednesday night into Thursday, tapering off Thursday night, Friday morning. And it's looking like all snow as opposed to sleet or freezing rain that we typically get in North Texas. Not to say we couldn't see some of that, but that's definitely the way it's trending as far as all snow. And the atmospheric column, at least what the models are showing, do support that. This is not really going to be an icing event, freezing rain, things like that. Not for Dallas Fort Worth anyway. So that's the good news. Is that I think it's going to be that all or nothing thing, to where I think first and foremost it will precipitate late Wednesday into Thursday into early part of Friday. It depends on where you're at, what type of precipitation falls, whether it's rain or snow. I just don't think there'll be a lot of in between. So that's good as far as icing goes. But again, represents the official National Weather Service forecast as of today, which is Monday evening at 7 p.m. And the models, the mean of the models, if you will, show about 2 to 5 inches of snow. A chance of more than that, 20 to 40%, not a ton, but it has trended this way. It's trended for more snow as these models have started to pick up on this really at the middle of last week. So I will say this, it has trended more snowy than it was in the beginning. All right, so let's look at this graphically. So this is everybody's favorite model that we're looking at. This is a European model. And I kind of stopped it. This is late Thursday afternoon, no, that would be, let me back it up one here. There we go. Okay, so this is a precipitation type, and this is Friday at 0 Zulu, which would make it 6 p.m. Thursday, 0 Zulu being Greenwich Mean Time in England. So we're 6 hours behind that. And so, as you can see, it's, again, this is not a snowfall rate. And I'll show those in a second, but I don't want to get too caught up in that. I want to show the precipitation type, at least thought. And this is a European model, and this is the one to where everybody latches on to the snowfall map. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just that that's just one part of it. And I'll just say models can be, you could pick whatever model you want, and you could probably find one that shows you what you want. And there's 2 or 3 of them out there that show nothing but rain. So if you want to find something, you can, but obviously we don't want to just find something to find something. We want to, find the best model we can, the more accurate model, if you will. But again, I just showed this one because, again, I don't think there's any doubt that there'll be any precipitation. It's just what type. So it's kind of hard to see here. Let's get my drawing tool to work here. So we're going to have this low pressure system right here. And then, this is, going to wrap around like that. And so you get these on the northern end of the low, you get where the colder air is that where you get these different precipitation types. If you're down in South Texas, of course, you're going to be seeing nothing but rain. So I just show that to say that, this whole storm system depends on how much is it going to snow, quote unquote, or how much is it going to rain, what type of precipitation is it going to be. And it all depends on the track of this low. So if this, let me see if I can change it to good old fashioned red. There we go. So if this low pressure system, shows it right here, just west of Galveston, if it's down here, well, then that would put more of this way. Now, of course, the opposite is true too. If the low tracks more north, then you might see more of the warm sector come up. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that, and so I just want to. I'm not saying any of that's going to happen. It's just I want to give some perspective there. In North Texas, the snow events, winter events are very, very difficult to predict, and this is no different. Now, I will say that all the things that are coming together to show snow, so there's no doubt about that. It's just that will it actually happen? That's the thing. All right, so let's go to a different model. So this is a GFS at the same time. Again, you can see this is precipitation type. This is not a snowfall map. This is precipitation type. And again, you can see this purplish. That's showing more sleet. This is a GFS. So I just want to give you an idea. The icon, which is more of a German, I think that's a German model if I remember. Hey Abra, hey Willie, how are you, sir? How are you, ma'am? Again, mostly snow, but you do see some mixed precipitation in this. So this is the icon model. Now I show these models. This is our famous HRRR. We mainly think of it forecasting thunderstorms, which it's very good at. It's not so great at doing winter, but I just wanted to show this because this is the last. I don't think they've updated this. Actually, they have. Okay, well, not quite. So let me go back one. Well, let's see. Nope, actually, that probably was the latest. Yeah, we'll go back. It goes that far out. We'll do. Oh, there we go. What day? That's no. I should have left it where it was. Let's try this. Which one is that? Okay, well, the point I was going to make until I messed it up is these are these short range models, and they haven't come into play yet on this weather system coming into the Thursday timeframe. They're only 24, 36-hour models. Sometimes they're only 18-hour models. So we're not that close yet. So I just show this to say that these are the other models. These short-term models are going to tell us a lot more, probably by this time tomorrow, maybe even into Wednesday morning. And so this is a NAM North American model. This is their high-resolution model. So again, it's like the HRRR. It only goes out 36 hours. And you can start to see the snow band. Again, I say snow band. This is precipitation type reflectivity, at least what the model thinks it will be. And you can kind of see this is early Thursday. You can kind of see this is what's starting, and we're thinking this is going to continue to spread that way. The other thing to kind of show you a little bit graphically, this is windy.com. This is a really good site if you've never seen this. So this is the European model, and this is a Thursday at noon. So it's kind of hard to see probably, but this is the predicted temperature is 32 degrees, 28 in McKinney, 30 in Denton. Again, predictive temperature. This is Thursday at noon. And it's hard to see, I know, but this is, the European model says, hey, it's going to be snowing quite a bit at that time frame. But as you can see off to the south, Corsicana, Hillsboro, 34. So that's where that line, as always in North Texas, that's where that line it's going to be critical where that line sets up, where we get all rain or all snow. Now, like I said, it's definitely trending toward more snow than rain, so I'm not trying to diminish that. It's just that line is a little too close for comfort for me. And so the GFS graphically, so the GFS has kind of picked up on these heavier snow bands west of Dallas-Fort Worth, and even they show a little heavier snow band south Dallas-Fort Worth. So again, if you kind of take the mean of that would set up favorably for heavy snowfall, at least heavy snowfall rates in Dallas-Fort Worth. Ironically, this is not the European model. This is the GFS. So the GFS has really come around on this stuff. Then the Europeans kind of latched onto it from the very beginning. But the GFS has kind of come around. And I think that's why you've seen the Weather Service, pick up their confidence in snowfall, because these other models are starting to come into play. And then I think we can show, now that's the North American models. That's the high resolution that go out that far. Then the icon, go there. As you can see, get some heavy precipitation. That's 4 p.m. But if we go back to noon, again, that's one that's showing a heavier band out west of us, and yeah, that's Thursday at 6. So again, this is not the European model. This is the Icon model, which I believe I should have looked at it first. That's the German model, I believe. So I just wanted to kind of show all these things graphically because it is that most of the models, as the Weather Service has been talking about, most of the models have been trending toward more winter precipitation and mainly snow. Like I said, this is not an icing event. This is not a freezing rain event, thankfully. So we don't really have to worry about that. But like I said, I know, especially the youngins, I know we don't want to even mention the word, well, it's just going to be rain, not snow. So it's something that, but it's just, I mean, the chances are slimmer that it will be rain and not snow, but it's not 100%, at least the way I look at it. Hey, Eric, I knew this was coming. Claire wants to know what the chance of school being canceled on Thursday and Friday. Well, I would say that if you like, this is a good example of the Icon. Well, we'll go back to the European model just for grab. Yeah. So if that verifies, then Claire won't be going to school Thursday or Friday. So, I would say that she has to be a big, big fan of the European model. Tell her that the European model is her friend. Hey, Kevin. Kevin says, let's hope for snow and not ice. Have friends in KC, and they got hammered with ice. And to rub it in, they also got hammered by the... Yeah, so... although I don't think Mahomes is playing, but that's another conversation. So if you weren't familiar with Kansas City, Kevin brings up a really good point. Before they had all their snow, they had a glaze of ice that formed over everything, and it was really nasty. They just had some really big problems before the snow. Then they had the snow on top of that. As a matter of fact, just for grins, I think we can show this. Yeah. So, by the way, this is just our current temperature, 35. It's going to be below freezing again tonight. Going to be in the low 20s, so keep that in mind. Please, if you have pets, make sure they're in. But to kind of get Kevin's point, if we go up to Kansas City, 12 degrees at the airport. Well, that's downtown. It's 10 degrees at the international airport. So, so they got quite a bit of snow, and it's cold. And if I zoom out on this, most of that snow is off into the northeast. So, I don't know if... Oh, there's a squeal of excitement, Abra. Okay. Well, I figured there would be. Let's do this. So, I think I can give you a good idea of where our storm system is coming from. And let's see. We'll probably have to do a big sector here. Let's see. This might work. I think our storm system's right here, but let me put this in motion to make sure. Yeah, it's not the greatest view, but this right here. Can I get my drawing tool to work? Yeah, right here. So this is going to go just like this. And so that's the storm on Wednesday, starting Wednesday evening into overnight Thursday and then or early morning Friday. So that's the storm system that we're watching. I don't know if I could get... let's try this. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work like I want. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so that's where our storm system's coming from. So if everything behaves, then that's going to come in and bring us all of our potential for snow on Thursday. All right, so again, let's look at the timeline. So again, Wednesday night, and this is again not tomorrow night, but Wednesday night. If things play out like they think, and some of the models have definitely shown this, is that Wednesday night you would have this snow start out in southwest of us. Thursday you can see. Oh, you know what? It'd be helpful if I put the right. If I put the right one up there. Let's try this. Hold on a second. Well, give me a second. Okay, I know I got that. I don't want that. All right, well, let's try this. There we go. Technology is awesome. Okay, as I was saying. So Wednesday night, you would see some precipitation, snow start southwest of us after dark. Thursday is when, again, you would see most of the snow happen all during the day. Thursday, that wintry mix south of us, wintry mix being sleet, really. Now, again, that's where that line is. That line's, as a kid growing up here, that line was always way too close. So we'll see. Again, if that system moves a little bit further north and it's projected to move, then that's where we would see less snow and more rain. And then Friday, things start to move out. So that's the timeline. And even as far as tonight goes, again, temperatures around the mid 20s. Tomorrow, not quite as much sun, but close to 38 to 40. But again, so there you go. So we're looking at the official forecast right now is looking at 2 to 4 inches of snow. We'll see. Could be more, could be less. Classic weatherman line there. And so let's talk about a couple of things. We looked at, and matter of fact, I'll go back. I hope go back to. Let's see. I knew I was going to do that. Nope, not that pretty picture though. Don't want that one. Okay, so let's go back to. There we go. Okay. So here's a couple things to keep in mind. So we've looked at all these models, and I didn't show any snowfall maps. They're out there. So, but I didn't really show any of those because, you had to take them with a grain of salt. So I think the best thing to focus, because you'll see some that show a foot of snow. I don't think that's going to happen. Be a nice, nice pleasant surprise. And then you see others that, barely, have an inch of snow for Dallas Fort Worth. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with showing those. I think it's great to show the, graphic illustration of what in those cases, the extreme of what could happen. Just, be careful if someone says, hey, this is absolutely going to happen. Prepare for 12 inches of snow, because I just don't think anybody knows that. But I think it's good to show the contrast of models. That's not really what I wanted to do tonight. I just kind of want to talk about what the chances of seeing snow are, which I think are better than 50-50. So here's a couple things that had to be overcome, though, before that happens. So I think I could show this. Yeah. So this is my weather station at my house. And the one thing that I want to point out is this right here. That's the dew point. So the dew point is 8 degrees. And that's, and the temperature is 33. So that gives you a humidity of 35%, pretty dry. So that the cold front that brought in the really cold weather Sunday morning and hung around all day today is going to hang around most of the week. So it's very dry air from Canada and the Arctic. So that's why the dew point is 8. And if you think about it, just in the Metroplex, we don't get a ton of dew points in the single digits in a general sense. So that's how dry this air is. So the air is going to be slow to modify to get moisture. So that's the first obstacle that will have to be overcome to see a lot of snow production. I'm not saying it's not going to be overcome, but that's the first thing that has to be overcome. So that graphic that showed Wednesday night, get to that. There you go. Over here. So most of that, I think you'll see, here's the thing. I think you'll see radar returns Wednesday evening out west of us. Oh my gosh, look at that. Doesn't mean all of it's reaching the ground. And so this air is so dry initially, it's going to have to be, that snow production is going to have to slowly saturate the air beneath it to reach the ground. So the initial snow that may look impressive on radar may not even be reaching the ground. So that's number one. Now, number two, though, what will help replenish that moisture is that surface low that we talked about in the very beginning. That's going to pump moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico, and that will definitely help saturate the air beneath it. So that's no big deal. But the snow that you see out in West Texas probably on Wednesday, all that moisture is from the Pacific and it's higher up in the atmosphere. So that's why it's drier at the surface. So we're going to overcome dry air, which we can. It's just initially we're going to overcome that. And then number two is, how strong is the system going to be? Right now, it's a closed low, if you will, over the Pacific, and it's forecast to remain a closed low until it gets into Arizona, and then it would actually weaken into an open wave, as we call it, not a closed circulation, and those tend to speed up, and then that would move across Texas. That actually helps because the later the system were to wait, then our air mass would warm, and chances of snow would greatly decrease. But right now, the timing is that. So you got dry air versus dry air at the low levels had to overcome. What direction, or excuse me, what strength is that system actually going to be? And then thirdly, where is it actually going to move? And now I will say that the models do a really good job of predicting all that. So I don't think anything that we've talked about is crazy as far as, oh, well, why are they saying it's going to snow? It's not going to snow. I don't think any of that's crazy talk. I think it's just like a lot of things, these systems that are out over these weather disturbances that are out over the ocean, there's no weather stations, if you will, networks, weather balloons, things like that to take samples of those storms, moisture content, strength, wind shear, things like that. And we don't really get a good idea about that until it gets over land when we have all these things we can measure it with. And that's why these short range models are typically pretty good. The HRRR, the NAM, high resolution NAM, is that, it takes samples from the atmosphere that we're getting and analyzing those and saying, oh, okay, you know what? This storm really is what we thought it was going to be. Or this storm is, this storm is like this far south or this far north of where we thought. So I think that's where these, the HRRR and those short-term models, high-resolution models, well, a much better idea about this tomorrow. I know that kind of says like a duh because, the closer you get to the event, the better idea you have about it. But again, there's some things that we have to overcome that we haven't overcome yet. Hey, Kevin, most snow we've had since we moved here was 6 inches. That was 9 years ago. It only been here for 2 months. Everyone was blaming us for our Colorado license plate. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that storm 9 years ago. That was, probably. It's not it. Yeah, it might have been more than that. I know I don't know if this is one you're referring to, but in 2010, 2011. We did get like 10, 12 inches of snow. That was in Dallas-Fort Worth. You may be talking about a different storm, but that's the one I remember, 2010, 2011. And 2 years back to back. That was quite the crazy snowstorm. It was really cool because it was nothing but snow. Someone asked me earlier today, are we going to repeat a 2021? No, we're not going to. Hey, Kara, late to the party, you are fine. How the road's going to be? The $1 million question. I actually was just getting to that, Kara, so I appreciate you asking. But to finish that thought, like I said, a lot of these things have to come into play before, when the system gets over land, we'll have a much better idea how it's going to play out. Okay, so let's just assume that it plays out just like we think. It's going to move over us, going to dump, 3-4 inches of snow. Let's just say that happens. Okay, so the time frame is timeline, I guess is probably a better way to put it, is between now and Wednesday evening, you don't have anything to worry about. It's just going to be dry, it's going to be cold. As we go into the day tomorrow, we'll see a little more clouds. I think Wednesday will probably be a cloudy day, high clouds. And then unless the system really starts to speed up, which it could, you'll start to see some snow, radar returns of snow out west of us. And then overnight, Thursday, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, overnight, is when this should start, the way they're forecasting it right now. And so I was telling someone else earlier today, if that were to be the case, then, February 2015. Okay, Kevin, you're right. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So if it starts overnight, Thursday morning, overnight, before you wake up, then you would wake up to white stuff, snow. That would obviously, make a difference on what things are going on that morning or not. Obviously from a school standpoint, if that were to come into play, I don't know if you would have school with snow-covered roads. Not sure. But for the roads itself, kind of specifically to Kara's question, snow on roads aren't near as bad as ice on roads. Now, I'm not saying it's any fun to drive on, but you can get traction on snow. So it's something that I guess it depends on your perspective. If you don't have a problem, as long as your perspective is, hey, I don't care what it is, as long as it's not like an ice sheet, I'll drive on snow. Then the roads might not be that bad. Now they're not going to be great. Don't get me wrong, but your individual comfort level may say, hey, well, if it's just snow covered, I don't care. Obviously, when it comes to school and other things, that's a totally different story with school buses. But so I don't think in the big scheme of things, roads would be horrible. But yeah, you probably wouldn't want to drive on them if you wake up on Thursday morning and you already have an inch on the ground or 2 inches on the ground, something like that. Yeah, the roads are going to be covered, and because the temperatures will be below freezing, and that won't be no bueno, obviously. I will say, during the day, the snowpack on the road does tend to change, even if it's not sunny, because you have two things working against snow staying on the road, unless it's just really, really, really cold or it's really, really snowing hard, is that it is something that solar radiation has a lot to do with that. And it doesn't have to be sunny either. So, as you probably know, if you remember from eighth grade science class, that even though it's cloudy, you still get solar radiation from the sun, even though it's cloudy. That's why it's the old thing. That's why you can get a sunburn when it's cloudy. But of course, that's ultraviolet. But the solar radiation penetrates those clouds, and so the concrete, has a great ability to absorb heat and keep it. Now, it does release it, but it does keep it for a long time. So it's been warm for a long time. Most of the December it was warm. So you have a lot of warmth in the roads. So during the day, I don't know that roads would be horrible. That's, of course, if it snows as much as they say. Obviously, the roads won't be horrible at all if it doesn't snow. But again, for most people, yeah, you wouldn't want to drive on it. But during the day, I guess maybe that's a real long way of saying, could you get somewhere if it just snows? Yes, I think you could get somewhere. At night when it's a lot more slick, probably not. So I guess the bottom line is if it snows an inch or two, especially if it starts late Wednesday, overnight Thursday morning, when you wake up, yeah, you probably wouldn't be going anywhere. But again, like I said, I think unless something really turns around, I think it definitely will do something. Whether it does that much, like I said, that the one extreme model showed 12 inches of snow. I just don't see that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't see that. All right. So hopefully that's a really long-winded answer to Kara's question, but hopefully, yeah, that answered your question. All right. So thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that. I am glad to be on. Glad people are tuning in. All right, so let's just kind of do a summary real quick. Been on a little over 30 minutes, so let's do a quick summary. Okay, so this is, again, those of y'all maybe just joining us, this is the European model. Now, precipitation type, but just for grins. Oh, let's see. Let's find the snow. Okay, so. All right. So I think this is the latest. Yeah. So again, 3 inches. Yeah, I know it's kind of hard to see, but so it's like, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, 3 inches would be kind of cool. Yeah, Kara, if you could stay home, yes, I would definitely stay home. I guess that's a real simple way to put it. Yes. It's not worth it in those situations. So again, this is a 6-hour snowfall, and if you did 24-hour, almost 5 inches. Now here's the thing. So I know it might be hard to see, but here's the thing right here. This is a snowfall rate. This is the ratio 10-1. That's basically a water ratio, and that's a really dry snow. And so it's not going to be that. It's going to be a wet snow. So that's more like an 8-1 ratio. And so this model, which again, I'm not knocking the model, it's just that it doesn't account for a lower snow ratio. So that's something that you got to take into account. And obviously that would be lower amounts. But again, it's interesting to look at. All right. So let's go to the GFS. And we'll do their 24. Oh, okay, this is good. Okay. So 24-hour, you see a much on the other graphic we showed you. Did see those heavier snow bands out west. That this model, the GFS, definitely reflects that 6 inches around Mineral Wells, give or take. Now again, this is 10-1, but so if you go to Kachara, I can't ever say that right. It's a different ratio. We'll do total snowfall. So this accounts for a drier or lower ratio. So again, you can see as opposed to 6.6, 5.2, 2.2 in a Metroplex. So yeah. Now if you go forward, in time, that's a snapshot. This is Friday, Friday 3 Zulu, which would make it Thursday at, gosh, I got to take away 6. 9 o'clock, I think. So you see these totals. Again, this is total snowfall, 7, 4, or 6 inches. So again, this is a lower ratio. This is like the 8-1. So thanks, Patty. Pat, I really appreciate you saying that. And it's good to see you and talk to you earlier. So yeah, I mean, this is GFS. Now, if you go back to the European model, and they only do the 10-1. And this is total snowfall, but let's go. Yeah. So, okay. So this is the one I was trying to find. So this is the one that was showing, actually this shows 13 inches. Again, two things wrong with this. Number one is it's a 10-1 ratio. It's not going to be that. It's going to be more like 8-1. But you can knock these down a little bit, but even if you did that, it's like 10 inches. Yeah. I mean, it'd be kind of cool. I just don't see that. I guess in that case, I'd like to be wrong, I guess. Okay, so let's do the icon model. And so here's the thing. This is that's 24 hours. Let's do total. Okay. So again, this is a good illustration of what I was talking about before. So remember on that one National Weather Service map, we talked about the freezing line, or not the freezing line, but basically the rain snow line like that. Well, this is a model that kind of picks up on that, is because obviously the heavier snowfall is right here, and then it really tapers off in the Metroplex. For us snow lovers, that's something that doesn't happen. But it's just something to consider. But there you go. And then if you looked at the 10-1 ratio for snow, yeah, it's not a whole lot different on this one. I think is that total? Yeah, let's see. Yeah. So about 7 inches. So again, if you look at all these different models, that's where, that's why the Weather Service, which does a commendable job, that's why you're getting that 2 to 5 inches thing, because you got this one extreme that says a foot, and then you got this other extreme that barely has any snow at all. So, they're just taking the mean, which is typically what they do. Hey, Debbie, I guess I need to leave an extra food out for Wednesday for the Farrells. Yes. Yes. Definitely want to do that Wednesday. And by the way, Debbie, I'm so sorry for your loss. I saw that. That made me very sad. Yes, I'm so sorry to hear that. I lost my cat a year ago. New Year's Eve. So I definitely know how you feel about that. So it's tough to lose a pet. But yes, leave the food out for them. So here's the bottom line is, if you got anything in the chat, go ahead and put it in there, because I'm not too far away from signing off. You can only beat this dead horse so much. But so here's the bottom line for us as, this snowfall event. So here's some things to keep in mind. One is, and again, I'm not trying to be the party pooper or anything. I just want you to have this perspective. So number one is that it's very, very hard to predict snowfall in North Texas. It's just where we are in latitude. It's just the way it is. That's number one. Number two, a lot of things have to come together, which they appear to be coming together, but still got to happen. Like I said, got to move the right way. The storm system has to be the right strength. Temperatures got to cooperate. So that's all that's got to play. Now, like I said, it's all coming together to look like that, but still got to happen. A lot of things can change. But I would prepare, not panic, different P word. I would prepare that something will happen, from a winter standpoint. So if you need something, and no, that doesn't mean go panic buy stuff, but if you need something, yeah, just get it between now and Wednesday. If you don't, then you don't need to do that. It's just something that where if it comes to pass to where it does snow like they are forecasting, then if you don't have to go anywhere Thursday and maybe part of Friday, and you can work from home. I know not everybody can work from home, but if you can, it's I would. If the roads are bad where you are, they might not be bad where you are. So it just depends. So between now and then, obviously, I'll be watching it. I'll be keeping up with things hour by hour almost, because that's what I do. Bottom line, but the one thing we know for sure is that between now and then, it's going to stay cold. Now it's going to warm up a little bit, but it's going to be cold. So we know that. That's why we even talk about snow, is because it's going to be so cold. So that we know that much for sure. So, all right. So I will most likely do an update. Well, if something went crazy tomorrow, I might do one tomorrow. But I think I would have another update on Wednesday, kind of when we're in showtime. Maybe at this time on Wednesday. I'll let you know, obviously. But, we'll obviously know a lot more then on what's going to happen. Okay, so I don't see anything else. I will try to catch it in the chat later if I don't catch it now, which obviously I'm not going to catch it when I sign off. But, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. It's fun to talk about snow in North Texas because we don't get it very often. And it's, as a kid, I remember that was the funnest time of the year, was when it snowed. And we just don't see it very often, and it's just fun. As long as everybody stays safe, as long as nothing else bad happens, it's a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll get to enjoy some of that, because spring will be here before you know it. Then we'll be talking about severe weather. So that's a conversation for another day. Okay, I don't see anything else. I'll try to catch it after I sign off. But as always, I'm watching the weather, so you don't have to. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, shoot me up on social media, and I'll try to answer those. And you'll probably see me back on here Wednesday evening. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.